I wasn't going to describe you that.
That's okay. That was the trick.
Yes, I know. I very good range.
Well, the first thing was to speak. Slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. All right, there you go. Don's counting it on. There you go. Now, if you know you're not they don't sit and do one of them.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please rise and join the Centenary College Choir in singing the national anthem and remain standing with the invocation by the Reverend Valerie Robideau.
Oh, say, can you see by the utterly heart what so proudly we hailed as twilight last evening, whose was stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so proudly streaming, and the rockets of the sea they proved to the night as the bright was still there. Oh, Satan's and stars take good and yet for the land of the free and the
As you will. Ever-present God, come forward. Help us honor this moment when we set aside our complaints and anxieties of the past and look forward to the unknown future. Extend your work and invite us into a new beginning. Redeem our deceitful and ungrateful hearts. Make righteous our education, helping us acknowledge the privilege and asking what's next. Do not allow this radical freedom to paralyze us, but rather motivate us to enact change in an unjust world. What if we extend this radical freedom to others? Will it carve out new paths in the wilderness and provide water in the driest of circumstances? Remind us of your ways, but also convict us of our agency, so that we may always remember with gratitude and always anticipate with a burdensome compassion. Amen. Our scripture reading today is from Isaiah 43, 18 to 19. Do not remember the former things, or consider the things of old. I'm about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert.
Thank you, Reverend Rodo. And thanks to David Hobson and the Centenary College Choir and the Brass Ensemble. Would you join me in thanking them again? I'd like to welcome each of you to today's ceremonies. I particularly want to recognize and welcome members of our Board of Trustees, the distinguished members of our faculty and staff, family, friends, moms, dads, guardians, grandparents. Would all of you who are family, friends, moms, dads, guardians, and grandparents, please stand. I'm going to ask the graduates to give you a round of applause. You are about to join the ranks of alumni around the world of Centenary College. But there are many here who claim that distinction on faculty, staff, but also in the audience. If you are an alumnus or an alumna of Centenary College, would you please stand and let us recognize you? I'd like to give a special greeting to Dr. Betty Spears, who's processing in her 69th commencement ceremony. I'd also like to acknowledge the fact that our gymnastics coach, who took competitors to nationals this year, it's her birthday, Coach Jackie Fain. Lots to celebrate. But now I particularly want to greet our graduates, the class of 2015. Now you may remember that we met in this very room a few years ago. It was over on that side of the Gold Dome. And I asked you to join me in a response that I told you that I would ask you to remember that I might call upon you to do during an austere and solemn occasion, and would give you permission to disrupt that austere and solemn occasion with this response. And you indulged me once at the President's Convocation. I'm going to ask you to indulge me one last time. Centenary loud. Centenary loud. Would everybody join us? Centenary loud. All right, class of 2015, we're excited for you. I appreciate that. For some of you, that's the last time you're going to roll your eyes at that. But you, though, have made that your mantra here. That phrase is so ubiquitous on campus because of the way that you have led, the way you have involved yourselves, and the way that you have changed this institution for the better. And I appreciate everything that each and every one of you did to make each and every one of us over here Centenary proud every day. Let me tell you a little bit about yourselves. For the undergraduates, the average age is 22 years. The graduate students wouldn't give me their ages, so I don't know. 10 of you are earning double majors. 4 students are earning 2 degrees. And as I said earlier, there's a lot to celebrate today. Would everyone please join me in celebrating the birthday of graduate Jordan Bell? We have 13 states represented and Great Britain represented today. We have 22 graduate students. We have 18 students who have members of their family who also attended Centenary College. And I'm going to call out their names, but when I finish, I'm going to ask all the graduates who have family members who went to Centenary, even if I didn't call your name, to stand, and we'll recognize all of you together. Jordan Arstott's sister, or Jordan Arstott, your sister, graduated. Meredith Ball, Warren Burlock, would y'all please stand? Alyssa Brown, Kevin Chang, Walter Gamble, Kellen Klaus, Lauren Marler, Sarah Natanga, Ryan O'Donnell, Miles Robinson, Alexandra Ross, Chelsea Russell, Nolan Simmons, Adam Stevenson, Marilyn Wells, Patrick Widener, Emma Viskoski, Joshua Holmes. And let me make a few comments before we applaud. If there are others that I've missed, would you please stand as well? But let me make a few comments. First of all, about Emma Viskoski. She's the 3rd generation, 12 graduates in her family. And Alyssa Brown is the 34th member of her family to attend Centenary College. You may be seated. There's a lot that's happened over the last 4 years, and there's a lot that's happened in this last year under your leadership, under your steady hand. There are several things that we want to celebrate. Particularly today, I want to celebrate the student athletes, particularly because you helped guide this school on a new and uncharted path for this institution, but for many institutions nationally, and that was the path into Division III athletics, to the point where you got us to the place where we are competing fully in the NCAA Division III, and you've done exceptionally well. I mentioned earlier that we had gymnasts compete on the national level this year. Our basketball team, the Gents, won the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference regular season. Congratulations. The baseball team won the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference regular season this year as well. And playing today and tomorrow for the conference championship outright. So I want to invite each of you, after you go to lunch, graduation lunch today at Wine Country or Zocalo or Sonic or wherever you decide to go for lunch today, come back at 2:30 to cheer on the Gents, but I think we can do that right now as a group. Go Gents! And I want to take a moment of personal presidential privilege to recognize another president, and that is a young man who has shown exceptional leadership at Centenary College during his years here, and particularly in the way that he was selected to do so by the entire student body and by his classmates. But his leadership was not only in his senior year, it was throughout his entire 4 years here at Centenary College. And I remember my first encounters with this young man as a sophomore, who was handed a very difficult task to help build his chapter of his fraternity back. And his classmates really took that charge seriously, very responsibly, and began making a difference at a very young age here at Centenary College and helped lead that chapter back to vibrancy and health. But that was just the beginning of a number of things that he did on this campus to exhibit exceptional leadership and is described by his peers and his mentors as a servant leader. Would you join me in recognizing President Miles Robinson? Now it is my privilege and pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker. Dr. Jay Barkey is one of 5 Emory University infectious disease physicians who treated the first 2 patients with Ebola virus disease to be treated in the United States. Dr. Barkey and the other 4 physicians later treated 2 additional patients, and all 4 patients successfully treated in the Serious Communicable Disease Unit in Emory University Hospital were discharged to return to their families and communities between August and October 2014. Dr. Barkey stated in an interview with Time magazine, "My hope is that by providing excellent care here, we learn processes that can be translated and expanded. And, in my opinion, in a fair and just world, if these processes are really key to improving survival in a disease like Ebola, countries that are developing can institute them." Barkey is no stranger to liberal arts education. He received his BA in International Affairs and Political Science and graduated with honors from Marquette University in 1998. In 2002, he graduated from the Medical College of Wisconsin, where he was a member of the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Society. He completed his residency in internal medicine and fellowship in infectious diseases at Duke University Medical Center. In 2009, Dr. Barkey was recruited to Emory University to become the director of the Antimicrobial Management Program and a hospital epidemiologist at Emory University Hospital. He is an active teacher and lecturer and is the co-director of the Clinical Infectious Disease Elective for second-year medical students and the Global Issues in Antimicrobial Resistance course for public health students. Please help me welcome Dr. Jay Barkey.
President Rowe, distinguished guests, thank you for this honor. First and foremost, congratulations to the ladies and gents in the class of 2015, to the faculty, and to the families and friends who helped get you here. I want to start off by telling a story that begins with a boy named Emil. Emil was a 2-year-old toddler who lived in a small village of 31 homes in Guinea, approximately 20 miles from the borders of Liberia and Sierra Leone in West Africa. The district where Emil lived is known as a forest region. However, about 80% of the surrounding forest has been destroyed by forest mining and timber operations, and as a result, it's disrupted the homes of certain wild animals, bringing those animals in closer contact with the residents of the district. About 150 feet from Emil's home, there was a large hollow tree, where Emil and many of the village children were often seen playing. This hollow tree also housed a large colony of free-tailed bats. On December 2nd, 2013, Emil developed a fever, vomiting, and diarrhea. He died 4 days later. Over the next 3 weeks, Emil's 3-year-old sister, mother, and grandmother also died. 2 women from a nearby village attended the funeral of Emil's grandmother. They died 3 weeks later. A midwife from Emil's village was hospitalized and subsequently died. 2 healthcare workers who worked at that hospital also became ill and died. Multiple family members who attended their funerals also became ill and died. By then, the illness, initially thought to be cholera, had spread to several surrounding districts as well as the capital of Conakry, a city of nearly 2 million people. By March of 2014, cases were identified in neighboring Liberia, and the disease was identified as Ebola. By April, Ebola had spread to Sierra Leone. That very same month, a group that included 2 Americans, a 33-year-old physician and a 59-year-old medical missionary, established an Ebola care unit in Monrovia, Liberia. In June and July, they cared for 40 patients with Ebola. All but 1 died. In the last week of July, both of the Americans developed a fever. Subsequent blood work confirmed that they too had contracted Ebola. On July 30th, 2014, a day I will always remember, Emory University Hospital was asked to transfer both Americans to our hospital. The expected arrival time was unclear, but Emory was told to be ready to receive the first patient within 72 hours. The next day, at 5 p.m., an email blast was sent out by Emory administration notifying over 40,000 students, faculty, and employees that Emory would be caring for the first 2 patients treated for Ebola in the United States. Now, as an aside, some of you may be wondering, who was the first to report this news? The New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN? No. In 2015, the first reaction to this email blast was posted online to Twitter 2 minutes later by an 18-year-old freshman who tweeted, quote, "Am I weird for being excited that an Ebola patient is coming to Emory?" No, at _Idaho Spud. We're not weird for being excited. There were actually many excited reactions to this news. Here's a small select sample. One, from a former real estate mogul and well-coiffed TV personality, quote, "The U.S. cannot allow Ebola-infected people back. People that go faraway places to help out are great, but must suffer the consequences!" Exclamation point. 2, from a physician colleague and also cable TV personality, quote, "I wouldn't have brought Ebola patients here." 3, and this one still perplexes me, from a headline on CNN, "Ebola, the ISIS of biological agents." I majored in international affairs and political science. I still don't know what that headline means. I do know that my inbox, mailbox, and voicemail, as well as those of my colleagues, filled with messages around the world. Some were supportive, many were not. Many suggested that I and my colleagues were intent on destroying the country by risking the spread of Ebola. In this climate of fear, how do you explain to the world that bringing patients with Ebola to the United States is the right thing to do? Like many difficult problems in healthcare, the answer is you ask a talented nurse to help you. In an outstanding Washington Post editorial that I would encourage all of you to read, my colleague Susan Brandt, who is the Chief Nursing Officer for Emory Healthcare, firmly but compassionately defended the decision to repatriate Americans infected with Ebola. She acknowledged fear, but explained why the fear was unfounded. Quote, "Fear about Ebola reflects a lack of knowledge. The duty of any healthcare provider is to care for those in need and to advance knowledge. We can either let our actions be guided by misunderstandings, fear, and self-interest, or we can lead by knowledge, science, and compassion. We can fear, or we can care." From August 2nd, 2014 to October 19th, 2014, Emory cared for 4 patients with Ebola. With the help of our patients, we continue to advance knowledge about this vicious, awful disease. But there is more work to do, and I argue to you, the class of 2015, whether you intend to or not, your efforts will help advance knowledge. To the 30% of you who majored in biology, chemistry, and biochemistry, know that the strains circulating in West Africa has been sequenced. Viral isolates are being collected and banked to study the genetic stability of the virus over time. Vaccines, with the potential to protect children like anemia, and experimental therapies, including those that were used for our patients at Emory, are currently being studied right now in West Africa in clinical trials, and among healthcare workers who care for patients with Ebola. There are incredible opportunities to be part of this effort. To the 20% of you who are majoring in business administration and economics, know that Ebola is a disease of poverty. Although not widely reported, outbreaks of Ebola have been wiping out isolated poor villages in Africa every year for nearly the last 40 years. If we want to eradicate the threat of Ebola to our country, we have to contribute to the global research effort. It also means developing the healthcare infrastructure of developing countries. As a physician, I can get routine lab work on one of my patients delivered electronically to my phone in 45 minutes with 3 clicks of a mouse. That's what practice in the United States is like. Our first patient arrived to Emory after being ill with Ebola for 11 days, without a complete blood cell count, without basic chemistries, without any of the routine labs that we take for granted in most academic hospitals. That is how wide the gap is between treating Ebola in the United States compared to Liberia. To the 15% of you who majored in English, communications, and political science, know that there are those who still believe that there is a role for media to educate the public and to allay fear, despite the pressure to generate sales, TV ratings, buzz, and page views. To those of you who have future careers in law and public service, know that regardless of your political affiliation, healthcare policy can be based on science, not political polling. And that the threat of emerging infections doesn't end after an election season. To all the graduates, know that the greatest lessons I learned by caring for patients with Ebola came from my colleagues and from our patients. First, my colleagues, 4 physicians, 21 nurses, who reminded me daily about what a tremendous privilege it is and an honor to practice medicine in the United States. With the resources we have in this great nation, a physician who uses their education and training to care for someone who's critically ill is not a hero. They're doing their duty. On the other hand, nurses truly are heroes. Long before Ebola was discovered, nurses have been on the front lines, risking their health to be at the bedside for those in need. The nurses had my back, literally, by helping me put on and safely take off the personal protective equipment that kept me safe inside the hot zone. To all the graduates, I strongly encourage you to find peers and mentors to guide your careers, just as the faculty and your families have guided you to today's commencement. Lastly, the lessons I learned from our 4 patients have truly changed my life. First, a 33-year-old physician who went to Liberia with his wife and 2 small children to serve a 2-year fellowship practicing general medicine. When the Ebola outbreak spread to Liberia, he answered the call. He took on the role of medical director at an Ebola treatment center, and now recovering from the disease, has remained a powerful advocate for a sustained organized international response to finally end the outbreak in West Africa. 2, a 59-year-old medical missionary who assisted healthcare workers with putting on and taking off personal protective equipment and performing decontamination, key tasks in terms of healthcare safety in an Ebola treatment unit. When she was medically evacuated, she thought she was being brought back to the United States to die. Not only did she survive, but she and her husband returned to Liberia in March to serve again as medical missionaries. 3, a 29-year-old intensive care unit nurse, engaged to be married, who volunteered to care for a man with Ebola at the same time as many were engaged in unfounded panic and hysteria. Now in recovery, she's scheduled to get married later this year. And 4, 43-year-old infectious diseases physician, one of my colleagues, who grew up in Zimbabwe, trained at Vanderbilt, and then moved to Uganda to teach others how to care for patients with HIV. When Ebola spread to Sierra Leone, he volunteered with the WHO for no pay to work in an Ebola treatment center in Kenema. After being evacuated to Emory, he became critically ill. His lungs filled with fluid, and he was placed on a breathing machine for 2 weeks. His kidneys failed, and he was placed on dialysis for 3 weeks. Prominent healthcare leaders stated last year that if a patient with Ebola required mechanical ventilation or dialysis, that those interventions should not be performed because patients would inevitably die. I disagree. After 40 days in the hospital, our patient was discharged home to his family. We're having dinner this Thursday in Denver. We're presenting a detailed description of the complications he's had since recovering from Ebola. As an example, 14 weeks after he first contracted Ebola, the visual acuity in his left eye went from perfect 2015 vision to 21,000, legal blindness, where you can essentially just sort of sense hand waving. Now, with the help of some of my ophthalmology colleagues, he's back to 2015 vision. 2 weeks ago, he traveled to Liberia, along with colleagues from the Emory Eye Center, to set up a clinic to examine the eyes of survivors of Ebola in West Africa. All 4 patients have continued to travel to Emory to donate and bank their plasma, which may be a therapy that can be used to treat others with Ebola. Their kindness makes me want to be a better physician. Their kindness makes me want to be a better person. So this is my parting advice to you, the class of 2015. And it comes from 2 people that I often sought for late night advice when I graduated, namely David Letterman and Conan O'Brien. If nothing else, remember these words. From Letterman: if you do good things for people, it will never stop making you feel good about yourself. From Conan: nobody in life gets exactly what they thought they were going to get. But if you work really hard and you are kind, amazing things will happen. Amazing things will happen. Thank you and congratulations, class of 2015.
Thank you so much, Dr. Barkley, for those wonderful, inspiring words. We applaud you not only for your speech today, but for your courage and for your wisdom, your care, and your kindness. And we ask you to take back our gratitude and our admiration to your entire team and to the patients you treated. One of the great things that colleges and universities get to do is to salute those who have made a difference in the world, who have taken their paths on trajectories that have become exemplars for others to celebrate, acknowledge, and recognize. And the way that we do that is by conferring our highest recognition, the honorary degree. Mr. Nelson, would you please escort Dr. Catherine Hammer to the podium? Innovator, communicator, leader. At this college, you began to see, emerging from the sheltered labyrinth of familial and societal expectations, you trusted yourself to step boldly, to take risks in pursuit of your passions. This journey has shown you that risks do not always lead to rewards. The landscape shifts, the rules change, the characters come and go. Undaunted, you have continued to step. Introspective, you have pondered the lessons. Along unexpected corridors and at sudden dead ends, you have propelled yourself forward, your success illuminating the limitless adaptive potential of a liberal arts education. Even as you achieve fluency in the complex codes that script our modern world, you have never forgotten the linguistic lessons of the old Norse sagas and Shakespearean plays that first set your student mind ablaze. You harnessed the simple yet awesome power of authentic communication as a CEO, drawing on your study of the poetic morality of the sagas and Shakespeare's keen dissections of human triumphs and tragedies. In the stories and in real life, you learned that many of us are drawn to reimagine the world's possibilities and smooth its imperfections. So we seek influence, we seek to lead. You would tell us that there is no leadership without listening, no one willing to follow unless you give the agency to evaluate and reject a compelling story or persuasive argument, and no successful self-sustaining culture whose integral DNA does not embrace mutually respectful communication as the centerpiece of human interaction. For infusing the business of innovation with the soul of an intellectual seeker, for demonstrating that setting these endeavors at odds is, in fact, a false dichotomy, Centenary College is proud to bestow upon you, Catherine K. Hammer, the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa. By the authority vested in me by the state of Louisiana and the Board of Trustees of Centenary College of Louisiana, I do now confer and bestow upon you, Catherine Hammer, the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa, and admit you to all rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. Mr. Chairman, would you please escort Dr. Markey to the podium? Explorer, educator, caregiver. With a nimble and versatile mind trained to dissect the political complexities of our chaotic yet beautifully intertwined world, you charted a perhaps unexpected course toward a greater understanding of that most complex and most beautiful creation, the human body. You found your animating passion in the study of microscopic threats to the human body writ large, to humankind. and in the conviction that the internal and external chaos wrought by disease on bodies, on families, on nations, must not continue unchecked. Esteemed for your individual contributions to this quest, you do more. With a keen awareness of the enormity of our challenges and the knowledge needed to overcome them, you work to strengthen our collective defenses. You share, you mentor, you teach. This training, this passion, this confident collaboration, these sustains you just as surely as your protective gear when your life's work pierced through a storm of fear, anxiety, hysteria, and incomprehension to offer care and comfort. Your path, though varied in experience, is consistent in purpose, recognizing, embracing, and respecting the power of the sinews, both constructive and destructive, that connect humankind on a global scale. For showing us that transformation and progress emerge not from knowledge itself, but from the bold curiosity to seek it, the selfless courage to apply it, and the humble willingness to share it. Centenary College is proud to bestow upon you J. B. Barton, the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa. And so, by the power vested in me by the state of Louisiana and the Board of Trustees of Centenary College of Louisiana, I do now confer and bestow upon you, J. Barton, the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa, and admit you to all rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. Before we move to the next part of our program, I want to ask you to join me in thanking all of those who were responsible for helping us organize and pull off this event today. In particular, I'd like to recognize Connie Whittington and Chris Holland. Class of 2015, today you become members of the Centenary College Alumni Association, joining many other women and men who've been here before. Many of our trustees, faculty, administrative staff, our alumni, and many are in today's audience, as you've seen earlier. But today, you've chosen one of your own to share ideas and insights and reflection. Your class speaker is Laura Proto. For those of you who don't have the privilege of knowing Laura, let me tell you that she is from Woodland Park, Minnesota, and is graduating today with a biology degree and will be interning at 601 Spring here in Shreveport as an event coordinator. Event planning is a passion of hers that she discovered from all the work that she has done for organizations here at Centenary. When she graduates, we'll have to hire 5 people to do the work that she was doing as a senior here. She has been a Maroon Jacket, a resident assistant in Klein Hall, SGA Senator, a member of Chi Omega, student ambassador. She was chosen as Centenary Lady a few weeks ago, as well as being a pace setter for the last 3 years. She's a student involvement intern and aiding student organizations in planning events, and just this morning, right before graduation, got a text to manage one of her last events of the semester. She's a tutor for math and science of all ages. But most importantly, Laura loves this institution, and she hopes to carry the legacy of Centenary proud for many years to come. Inducting you into the Alumni Association today will be your fellow graduate, Laura Proto.
Well, welcome everyone, and an extra big welcome to the fellow members of the class of 2015! Before I start, I would like to thank my loving parents who might very well be having a heart attack as I speak because I potentially failed to mention that I was going to be speaking here today. So, I hope the plane ticket was worth it. Also, since I have the mic, I figured I might also let you know that, remember that Lady Gaga concert that you told me I could not go to with the fabulous Zach Stilfer, back in sophomore year? Yeah, I totally went to that anyway. So, just so you're clear. Believe it or not, I think that Lady Gaga has some great lyrics to live by, such as, I must be myself, respect my youth. I'm afraid I may respect my youth a little too much because I am terrified of growing up. I do not want to be an adult yet. But in a matter of minutes, we are going to cross this stage and we are going to dive head first into adulthood. After 4 long years here at Centenary, I thought I would be more prepared for this moment. I wish I had spent more time learning how to do adult things like taxes and insurance. What I did learn, thanks to my awesome biology degree and all of my professors that have helped me up to this point, is that mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. That will be a very useful tidbit of information if I ever get my call back for Jeopardy! I did gain some leadership skills through all of the organizations that I was able to be a part of while here at Centenary. But even when I was in those positions, my childhood instincts kind of controlled those positions. As the Vice President of Programming for the Student Government Association, I was able to make the cookie cook-off a part of the homecoming agenda. But in other words, I convinced the entire student body to bake cookies for me to eat. I do love cookies, in case you didn't know that about me. When I start thinking about going off into the real adult world, it's scary, and I'm a little bit afraid. I'm worried that by leaving all of that silly stuff behind, that I will not be the person that I am today. I know for a fact that some of y'all cannot sympathize with me because you're willingly going into the adult world, for whatever reason. For example, in a matter of days, my dear friends Lexi Ross and Chris Marsalis will both be getting married to their significant others. Congrats to you both. But when I went onto the gift registries, I saw things like the Winx True HEPA air cleaner with plasma wave technology. And I became a little nervous. Do you also enjoy discussing stock market while eating kale for dinner? Like that's not really on my personal agenda. But I was slightly relieved when I also saw things like a Darth Vader travel mug made the list. So awesome. Thankful for that. Because this is Centenary, I was able to have an in-depth conversation about wedding registries with the staff members of Residence Life. And I had an epiphany. I realized that you grow old, but you never really have to grow up. You are more or less the same person you have always been. Sometimes people abandon their inner child, who actually wants to fill that registry with Nerf guns and board games. It's kind of like striking a balance between eating chicken nuggets out of a Frisbee and discussing stock market crashes and whatnot. Pablo Picasso once said, "All children are artists. The problem is how to remain an artist once they grow up." I have kept my inner artist alive by surrounding myself with people who support the products of my imaginations. I could stand here all day and list off the faculty and staff members and my friends that have helped me reach this point. But I will just name a few. To my dear friend Holly Pham, thank you for reminding me that having fun is just as important as studying hard. Thanks, Ben Green, future President of the United States of America, for being a great friend and always keeping me ambitious. And finally, to my boyfriend, Andrew Lopez, for his unrelenting support and for inspiring me to do whatever it takes to make my dreams a reality. As we get pushed out of Centenary's comfortable dorms, we realize that there are pressures much scarier than that biochem final. Pressures of being accepted, pressures of responsibility, and pressures of basic adulthood. The gravity of growing up can twist and contort who we are, orphaning that inner child. And it's important to remember that as we go off to med school, law school, graduate school, or start our dream jobs, that we still keep that inner child in mind. And always remember to do whatever makes you happy. Thank you.
Great job, Laura. Now, as we prepare to move into the conferring of honors and degrees, I'd like to ask the class of 2015 if you would like to acknowledge the faculty and staff who got you to this point. Madam Provost, will you present the candidates for degrees in course?
Yes, Mr. President. Will all the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science please rise? Mr. President, these persons, having satisfied all requirements established by the faculty for the degree Bachelor of Arts and the degree Bachelor of Science, have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees for the conferment of the degrees.
By the authority vested in me by the state of Louisiana and the Board of Trustees of Centenary College of Louisiana, I do now confer and bestow upon each of you your bachelor's degree and admit you to all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining.
Bachelor's degree graduates, now comes the dramatic moment you've been waiting for. Move your tassels from right to left. Will all those receiving bachelor's degrees please be seated? Will the candidates for the degrees of Master of Arts in Teaching and Master of Business Administration please rise? Mr. President, these persons have satisfied all requirements established by the faculty for their respective degrees and have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees for the conferment of the degrees.
By the authority vested in me by the state of Louisiana, by the Board of Trustees of Centenary College of Louisiana, I do now confer and bestow upon each of you your master's degree and admit you to all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining.
Graduates, now you too get to move those tassels from right to left. Will all those receiving the master's degrees please be seated? Will the faculty marshals please direct the graduates to the platform for the awarding of degrees? Mr. President, I would like to call particular attention to those members of the class of 2015 who have completed their courses of study with high distinction. I recognize now those graduating summa cum laude. This indicates that they have an overall grade point average of 3.9 to 4.0. Brooke Claire Ballinger. Lauren Elaine Burlott. Blake M. Burgoyne. Alyssa K. Brown. Angèle Céline Devilliers. Emily Danielle Carmeyer. Helen Peter Klaus. Alexandra Lauren Ross. Adam Carl Stevens. I recognize now those graduating magna cum laude. This indicates that they have an overall grade point average of 3.7 to 3.89. Addie Jane Barron. Darren Joseph Bowe. Elias Brooks Capello. Haley Clarice Cooper. Caitlin Eleanor Cornwell. Laura Jean Cotto. Jeremy John Paul. Samuel Abraham Paul. Ryan Matthew O'Donnell. Paige Rochelle Pritchett. Matthew Miles Robinson. Celia Sage Sobelman. Zachary Francis Stilford. Kayla Francis Thornhill. Emma Zuniga. I recognize now those graduating cum laude. This indicates that they have an overall grade point average of 3.5 to 3.9. Angelica Alame Pérez. Cody Michael Carson. Kevin Chang. Faith Lene Keenan. Lauren M. Cullen. Hughes. Andrea Stephanie Lamus. Lauren Elizabeth Marlar. Nicole Martinez. Ellen Elizabeth Orr. Chelsea Dawn Hetzka. Matthew Stewart Roberts. George William Roth IV. Bernard William Sanchez Jr. Amelia Shadon Stevenson. Yesenia Vargas. Christina Lee Wolterman. Now, after recognizing the honor graduates, I will call those students receiving the Bachelor of Arts degree. Jordan Mallory Arstad. Meredith Lindsay Bull. Jessica Sarah Beto. Cameron M. Brando. Jesse Garland Raleigh. Cameron David Bush. Hayden L. Jeremy. Rachel Catherine Clampett. Amanda Nicole Colby. Erin Hope Hunt. Mara Grace Cumberland. Dustin Allen Dalton. Laura Christian Dean. Nicole Elizabeth Duval. Jordan Emery Fell. Ryan Scott Castora. Roy T. Pichone III. Katie May Hancock. Joshua Caleb Holmes. Natalie K. Nicole Humbert. Jennifer Nicole Humphrey. Johnson. Sylvia Marie Tiger. Brett C. Kessel. Rhonda Taylor Martin. Jacob Allen Dean McFarland. James Anthony McMaster. Molly Louise Malone. Nigel Clarissa Miles. James Bo Fontaine Montgomery. Nicholas Chase Parrott. Whitney Lee Harrison. Matthew Joseph Cozy. Virginia Ann Price. Zachary Paul Provenza. Joshua Blake Ritter. Chelsea Jane Russell. Paul Howard Savage Jr. Catherine Elizabeth Shackleton. Emily Ruth Shelton. John David Sidery. Joseph Vincent Signorelli. Carly Michelle Slavinsky. Ryan Gregory Stevens. Ariane Marie Taylor. Taylor Glenn Theus. Nicole Ann Teaton. Andre Brennan Trahan. Emma Lynette Bukowski. Emily Danielle Ware. Patrick Ryan Widener. Nolan Lacey Wells. Isaiah G. Whitaker. Bree Mackenzie Wiggins. Heather S. Williams. Heather Danielle Wilson. And now the Bachelor of Science graduates. Andrew Mark Borrell. Astarla Albertina Brown. Mauricio Paul Vincent Valentino. Christopher Travis Diesel. Ricardo Brian Garcia. Jamie Liam Gibson. Shelby Ann Haviga. Caitlin Mackenzie Taylor. Mackenzie Dale Kaiser. Jesse Aaron Holt. Alexis James. Michael John Labatt. Chantel Elise Lee. Edward Samuel Martin. Gregory Paul Monette Jr. Lauren Christine Moore. Saro Nubari Natalia. Brooks Taylor Cosat. Kayla Andre Ruth. Christian Scott Sebastian. Arnie Mother Sigurdsson. Hank C. Strickland. Ashley Nicole Strong. Erasmo Valdez II. Gabriel Anthony Zahn. And now the Master of Arts in Teaching graduate, Laura Marie Adams. Ashley Courtney Atkins. To Quentin Harrison. Travis Barton Hill. Laura Jean Johnson. Renee Leonora Lagarde. James Langley. Douglas A. Lechner. Keisha L. Pickard. Antonio Alberto Romalo. Sarah Elizabeth Rousseau. And now the Master of Business Administration graduates. And before we get to this, I'd like to ask Dr. Christopher L. Martin, the Dean of the Ross School of Business, to please stand. Dr. Martin has been with us for 14 years and has become the Dean of the College of Business at Louisiana Tech. Chris, thank you for your service and Godspeed. MBA graduates, Christina Michelle Bird. Charles Edmund McAllister Jr. Savitri Moore Guillaume. David Douglas Hediak Sr. Trenton Shepard. Fred Patrick Storer. Ronnie Harold Bagley Jr. Kelly John Wells. And Sarah Elizabeth Wilkerson. Mr. President, this is Centenary College of Louisiana's class of 2015.
Now join me as we close these commencement exercises. Immediately following the recessional, you are all invited to a reception outside of the Gold Dome. But first, please rise as we sing the Alma Mater and receive the benediction given by the chairman of our Board of Trustees, George E. Nelson Jr. God bless all of you. Safe travels to those of you who came from afar. But God bless especially our honored class of 2015. Once famously said, education is what survives when all that has been learned has been forgotten. With that in mind, let us pray. Lord, 4 years ago, we welcomed these students with a goal and a charge to make them wise, caring, and moral leaders for the betterment of our world. As they make their new beginning, help them to be these leaders and remember fondly their time at Centenary. Grant, O Lord, that in all the joys of life, may they never forget to be kind. Help them to be unselfish in friendship, thoughtful of those less happy than ourselves, and eager to bear the burdens of others. Through Thee, O Lord our God. Amen.
well they're doing. Everybody's important. Everybody's got a program.